and welcome to the Storybook. My name is Ashionya Michelle Raka. Our story today is titled The King, the Fish, and the Ring. This story came to pass many, many years ago when the world was a very different place. Now, there was a king who lived in the east of the country. He was also a powerful magician who owned an ancient crystal called the Crystal of Fate, which also gave them power to see all that would be and all that will come to pass. One day, when his little boy, the prince, was 4 years old, he looked into the crystal and saw to his dismay that his son would marry not a princess of a great king like him, but the daughter of a poor yam farmer who lived far beyond the city walls near the edge of the kingdom. The girl, it seemed, had just been born not 2 days past. The king called for his horse and, using magic, changed his appearance so he looked different indeed. Jumping stripely on his horse, he rode as fast as the wind to the farmer's house. Here, he found the farmer sitting by the door of his house, looking very sad and deep in thought. The king dismounted his horse and walked to the farmer, saying, "Friend, why do you look so sad?" The farmer looked up slowly and saw the owner of the voice was, by his clothes, a wealthy man.
Oga, I have 5 children already and now a 6th. A little girl has just been born. The rains were not good this year. My yam harvest will be poor. I barely have enough food to put on the table before. Where shall I find the bread to feed this extra mouth?
"If this is what worries you," said the disguised king, "then let me help. I'll take away the newborn to lighten your burden. I shall treat her as one of my own children. She will want for nothing, and you will not need to worry further about how many mouths you have to feed." Amazed at the stranger's kindness, the farmer agreed almost immediately. Dropping some gold in the farmer's hand, the king took the baby girl and once again promised to look after her very well. The king, however, had treachery on his mind. He did not want his son, the prince, to marry the girl, as the Crystal of Fate has shown him. After riding a short distance, he came upon a powerful river, larger than any he had seen before. The water moved fast and looked very deep. "A good spot," he thought to himself, and threw the beautiful little girl into the river. Quickly, he rolled back to his palace, where he once again changed his appearance. The little girl, though, did not sink. Luckily, her clothes had kept her afloat, till the mighty river cast her ashore some miles downstream. A fisherman saw her and took pity on her. He took her into his home, where she lived with him and his wife, till she was 15 years old and had become a very, very beautiful young woman. And they named her Nkiru. One day, after her 15th birthday, the king was hunting with his entourage and happened upon the fisherman's hut. They stopped in a mandated water. The fisherman called for the girl to bring water for all present. As she brought water, every man there was struck by her beauty. A close friend of the king said, smiling,
"You can read the fate, O king. Which of us here will marry this beautiful girl?"
"That's easy," said the king. "She's bound to marry a poor farmer or fisherman. But for fun, let me ask the fates. Come here, girl," he ordered. "When were you born?"
I do not know, O king. I was found here by the mighty river some 15 years ago,"
she said, with her head bowed low in respect. The king immediately realized who she was, of course, and he pretended to be moved by her story. "Listen, girl. Your story enthused me. I will make you rich. Take this letter to my brother in Onitsha, and you will be happy for life." With that, he wrote on some parchment and gave this
to the girl. She and her family were overjoyed by the king's kindness. Nkiru set off to the city of Onitsha in high spirits. But neither she nor the fisherman nor his wife could read. The letter, far from promising vast riches, said this:
My brother, ask not why. The bearer of this letter must be imprisoned immediately and forever. The king.
Nkiru journeyed on, and night came. Having no money, she slept on the road where other poor travelers had camped for the night, hoping there would be safety in numbers. No sooner than she fell asleep, she was startled by the loud noises and shouts. Thieves had attacked the camp. One came towards her threateningly.
Give me your money, your possessions.
He shouted sternly. I have nothing, Nkiru pleaded. Only this, she said, sadly handing him the letter. It had happened by a great chance that this thief could read. He was very sad and angry by what he saw. He took his own pen and parchment and wrote,
My brother, ask not why. The bearer of this letter must marry my son, the prince, immediately and forever. The king.
The thief gave her to Nkiru and told her to go. And she continued to the city of Onitsha. The king's brother was a good man. It so happened that the prince was staying with him at his palace when the girl arrived. Immediately he gave orders for the wedding to commence, and they were married. Much ceremony later that day. Not a month had passed when the king himself came to Onitsha. He was unhappily surprised to find that the very thing he had been plotting against had come to pass. He was not one to be put off, though. He invited Nkiru to walk with him by the river, where, before long, they came to a mighty waterfall. The king suddenly grabbed Nkiru by the arms and was about to throw her over the edge of the waterfall, when she pleaded with him for her life. I have done nothing wrong to deserve this. Please spare me, and I will never see you or your son again unless you wish it. In a brief and unusual moment of pity, the king removed a gold fine ring on which was crafted his face and name, and threw it into the mighty waterfall, where it was swallowed by the swirling water.
Never let me see you again, unless you could come back to me with that ring.
He warned, and let her go. Nkiru ran away as fast as she could in case the king had a change of heart. In a village close by, she came across a wealthy man's house. She asked one of the servants if there was a job available. It just so happened that they were in need of a cook. So poor Nkiru started working straight away. Some months passed when in the distance, she saw the king's entourage approaching. Nkiru clearly recognized the king, his brother, and the prince, her husband. She ran quickly back to the kitchen knowing they would not see her there. Unhappily, she went back to work cleaning a big fish that had just been caught in the river earlier that day. She was daydreaming about what her life might have been had the king been a kind man. As she was cleaning the fish, she saw something shine inside its stomach. After a closer look, she recognized it immediately. It was the king's ring, the very ring he had thrown into the river all those months ago. The fish must have seen it and eaten it. She paid special attention to cook the fish well, using many subtle herbs and spices. As they ate, the king, his brother, and the prince found the fish so tasty that they asked who had cooked it.
I'm not sure,
Said their host.
you.
He called out to one of his servants.
Call the cook who prepared this fish.
Before she went to meet them, Nkiru made herself presentable, put the king's ring on her thumb, and then went to the dining room. When they saw such a young, beautiful cook, they were surprised. When they realized who she was, they were even more surprised. The king jumped up and drew his sword and bounded forbiddingly towards her. Nkiru bravely raised her hand, and the king, noticing the ring, his ring, stopped dead in his tracks. Finally, the king accepted Nkiru as his son, the prince's wife. He gave them many gifts, including a fine palace, fertile lands, and so much gold and silver that they would want for nothing for the rest of their lives. The story is, no matter how hard a man may try, he can never rewrite that which fate has already written. See ya.